Grace, that was fabulous. That was
Thank you.
really fabulous. So Grace, I watched your TED Talk.
Yes.
I went over the weekend. And you talked about how improvisation and spontaneity are two of the things you love about jazz.
Right.
I always wanted to be spontaneous. So tell me, you say you've transferred those things into your non-playing life.
Yeah.
How do they work in real life?
Well, I feel like because I've exercised that part of my brain that is all about improvisation and music, and every day I think it's translated in the way that I'm just a lot more open about, if XYZ was supposed to happen and it didn't, I have no problem with just being like, well, let's
Just
go with the
move
flow.
on.
Let's see what else happens,
Well, speaking of going with the flow, I mean, speaking of being spontaneous, first night, I think I got this right, you played with Stephen Colbert's band, well, it's John Baptiste's band,
Yeah.
Stay Human.
Yeah.
Doesn't he ask you to play an instrument you hadn't played like in 10 years or something,
Yeah.
the clarinet?
Yeah.
And tell us about that, and did that not cause you great anxiety?
This is very much a go with the flow
Yeah,
type of
apparently.
thing. So I got a call from John 3 days before I joined them on national television, and he basically said to me, hey, do you play baritone sax, alto, soprano, clarinet, flute? I know you sing and you play some keys, right? And I was like, yeah, but I had no idea that it was going to be for the near future, the far future. So I just told him yes, even though I haven't played clarinet since fourth grade. And he said, great, what are you doing on Monday? We'd love to have you on the show.
But you didn't know he was going to ask you to play the clarinet.
No, so I had those 3 days to gather instruments. I'm a Yamaha artist, so they were great at helping get all of that to me. And then clarinet's one of those instruments that is very unforgiving. It's not like the saxophone in the way that fingerings are different, slightly different embouchure, and it has a tendency to squeak like crazy. So I tried to get my fingerings back together, but I didn't know what that first day was going to entail. And when we were going out to one of the commercials, John looks over at me and says, solo on clarinet, go. And
I mean, at that moment?
Yeah, because he didn't tell me. The way he works is very spontaneous. I didn't get any notes beforehand.
So what did you feel like in your body when he said that to you?
Like.
And you just did it.
Yeah, I had
and
no
how'd
choice.
that go?
Honestly, it actually went a lot better than I thought it did, because at that moment of chaos and craziness, there's still a stillness within of, I'm going to have to do this. So I just tried to do the very best I could.
I'm looking for that stillness within.
Yeah.
So your first CD, you were 12 when your first CD?
Yeah.
You turned 24 not too many days ago. 10 recordings so far, right?
Yes.
Were you ever a kid? I mean, did you get to be a kid? Or
Very much so, yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
You don't think, didn't lose any of that along the way?
I think I got the best of both worlds, because it was literally when I was 13 years old, I was asked to do my first international concert and perform in Tromsø, Norway. So it was great because I flew to Norway, I did a performance, and then I came back, and there I am, like, hanging out with my buddies again. And then I'd leave, and so it really was like, I feel so blessed that from a young age, I got to travel the world, go to Europe for the first time in my teenage years, and continue to do so. So I've always had this great balance.
So you're young, and
Yes.
you were really young when you started this.
Yeah.
Was it hard to be taken seriously as a jazz? Well, not only young, but a woman, and there are not
Right.
many women doing what you
Totally.
do or doing in the past what you do.
Totally.
Was that hard to overcome or no?
I've been very lucky to have some incredible musical mentors throughout my career so far. Phil Woods, Lee Konitz are two of the biggest alto saxophonists in my world of saxophone and in the jazz world. And I've been very blessed that the people who have mentored me or brought me on to play concerts have always really loved my music. And it's been nothing more of, wow, she can really play, she can really write, she's really singing.
But you ever feel intimidated because you were so young, so much younger than the other players with huge names and huge talent?
Certainly, absolutely. Especially when I was like, 12, 13 years old, and I'm playing with Wynton Marsalis for the first time, Harry Connick Jr., Dave Brubeck. I mean, like, all of these moments are such pinch me moments. And even today, I'd be like, pinch me, but being so young then, I was really like super starstruck.
So how hard, but there weren't women role models. I've read a lot of what you've said about who were your role models most immediately and who were the names you most respected.
Yeah.
Singing Stan Getz around your house while your mother was playing Stan Getz when you were a little kid. So how hard is it to do something where there are virtually no role models of your gender doing what you want to do?
You know, it's interesting. I think I got so fascinated with the sound of the saxophone, and like we were saying, Stan Getz was a huge inspiration on me. I didn't even think about the lack of women in the community and didn't think about female saxophonists because I guess I was so obsessed with the saxophone itself. Now I realize, as 12-year-old, 13-year-old girls come to my concert and say, "You're a role model to me."
How's that make you feel?
I'm so honored, and I'm honored that I can be someone who can support them throughout their learning and tell them, keep going. Because even 10 years ago, there were even less women than there are now. So it's changing in a great way.
Speaking of changing, are young people in jazz, I mean, you're young. John Baptiste is almost as young as you are, 29 years old.
Right.
And so there are a bunch of players who were in your, is that helping draw out young people in audiences, or are they still older?
There's a beautiful thing happening right now with like millennial jazz musicians who are taking our foundation of jazz but merging different music, hip hop, pop, R&B, whatever it may be, and bringing on a new younger audience, which I think is fantastic. So my hope is that we're going to continue to create a wave, as the 20-somethings of the jazz era, and bring on also other peers in the audience.
You played a minute ago your piece, and we're going to play more at the end of the show, trying to figure out your new CD, your 10th. It's just, it's frightening, I should say. So your 10th, and one of the things I love about it is it's so many different things. I mean, I hope people know you're a phenomenal singer. You do this beautiful rendition of Smile, which was written by who?
Charlie Chaplin.
People can't believe that. It is so
Crazy.
It is so great.
Yeah.
You do the great Coldplay thing, Magic. But then you play improvisational jazz. So, I mean, was that the goal here, is to give everybody a taste of every kind of thing you can do?
Well, it's a very wide, eclectic CD. Really what binds it all together, in my mind, is it's a thematic CD. So the storyline in the CD is it starts from more of a place of darkness, and each track moves a little bit more towards light and redemption. And at the end, the last track with John Baptiste, Lemons Make Lemonade, it's supposed to just feel like a celebration and a party. But the turning point halfway through the CD is my song, Trying to Figure It Out, which is, you might kind of be in this dark place, but we've got to keep taking one foot forward, and there's some opening doors that way. And then every track after that kind of moves in that direction. So even though musically, yes, it is definitely eclectic, the thing in my head that brings it all together is the storyline of what every song means.
Okay, I hope everybody watching this not only loves you or discovers you, but I hope everybody loves Stephen Colbert. Even though the transition, I have to say, has been uneven, you don't have to comment on that. However, please tell me he's as decent a person in person as we at home think he is.
Oh my gosh, he's the greatest guy.
Raise
really.
your right hand and say this.
He's the greatest guy.
Fine,
he's actually even funnier in person than on TV. But
is he nice?
So nice. Within the first week I was there, he knew my name. He was asking me about my dog and stopped me in the hallway. And I mean, just things that he went above and beyond for a guy who, this is a show, he's so busy. And I have never seen him have a diva moment.
Is that really so?
He treats all his employees incredibly. And having a boss like that just makes everyone who works there is so kind and wonderful. And he sets that, example.
Grace, it's great to see you.